Lady Margaret Beaufort founded St John's College, on our right, on the site of a 13th century hospital, and the foundations of the original chapel can be seen through the railing coming up shortly on your right. As we pass the college gateway, you can see the motto of Lady Margaret, Souvent mais souviens, remember me often. The main gateway to the college was built in 1516, and you can see a statue of St John on the right above the gateway. From the second largest college, St John's, you will soon be able to see the largest and richest, Trinity. A small statue of Henry VIII can be seen on your right above the gateway, holding a chair leg in his right hand, which was placed here by students as a joke. The Great Court of Trinity College is where undergraduates attempt to run around the courtyard while the college clock chimes 12, 380 yards in 43 seconds, as immortalised in the film Chariots of Fire. Trinity College has produced over 30 Nobel Prize winners, and it was here that Prince Charles took a degree in history and archaeology in the 1970s. As we turn left, you will be able to see a classical building on your right. This is the Senate House, the ceremonial centre of Cambridge University, where all degrees are conferred. The Senate House is the centre of university today, where decisions are made and famous lectures given. The Church of Great St Mary's to your right is where degrees were given out before the Senate House was built. In 1793, Dr. Joseph Jowett of Trinity Hall composed the bell chimes of this church. These chimes are now familiar as the Westminster chimes that are rung out by Big Ben in London. On the wall of the church there is a circular mark, which is the official centre of Cambridge, from which all distances are measured. The market square on your right was, and indeed still is, the centre of activity of the city. On the far side of the market square is the Guildhall, which was the trade centre of Cambridge as opposed to the academic centre. In front of it there used to be a great fountain called Hobson's Conduit. We will show you that later on the tour, as it has now been moved away. It was here in the market square that all the local produce was brought to be sold to the citizens in a market that was much larger than it is today. Today's market is open daily, and there is a special craft market on Sundays, along with a produce market. The market used to stretch from Great St Mary's behind us to the Church of Holy Trinity, which will be coming up on your right with its tall, slender spire. Ahead of us to the right is Sidney Sussex College. One of its most famous old boys was Oliver Cromwell, who deposed and had King Charles I executed in 1649 during the English Civil War. When Cromwell died in 1658, he was buried in Westminster Abbey. Some years later, when Charles II came to the throne, he had Cromwell's body dug up, hung and beheaded. The head was then placed on a spike in Westminster Hall. Sidney Sussex College appears in the Guinness Book of Records as having the longest overdue book borrowed from its library. Colonel Robert Walpole borrowed the book and took it to Houghton Hall in Norfolk. He borrowed the book in 1667 and it was returned 288 years later. Unfortunately, the fine still remains unpaid. The building to your left is Hewell Court and contains student accommodation. If you look closely at the building, you will see gouges and dents throughout the stonework. These marks were caused by flying shrapnel from a bomb that exploded nearby during the Second World War. Ahead on the corner is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, or the Round Church. It is the oldest surviving church of its kind in the country and was built around 1130 AD by knights returning from the Crusades. There are only 4 round churches left in this country, and they were built to represent the circle of life, death, and the resurrection. Coming up on our right is the ADC Theatre, home to the Amateur Dramatics Club of the university. Many famous names first trod the boards here, including Emma Thompson, Clyde James, Sir Derek Jacobi, Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie. One undergraduate failed his audition here, but went on to enjoy a 50-year career in Hollywood. His name was James Mason. Over the high wall to the front and right of the bus are the buildings of Sidney Sussex College, founded in 1596 by Lady Frances Sidney, Countess of Sussex. On April 23rd, 1616, Oliver Cromwell entered the college. He would later become the Lord Protector of England and opposed royalist forces throughout the English Civil War. We are travelling around the Four Lamps roundabout, so named because it was originally illuminated by 4 gas lamps in the centre of the island.